AITA for telling my ex's lack of money is not my issue? I, 36F, have a daughter Sadie, 12, with my ex-husband John, 39. We got to me I was rubbing my success in their face. But I still don't feel like I did anything wrong. Still, AITA? I have a much higher paying job. Since it's just me and Sadie, I make sure she has the best possible life. She goes to a private school, set her up a college fund, and she has much better things than most kids. Phone, clothes, etc. I still manage to raise her to be humble and not take things for granted. And she's one of the hardest working people I know, always making sure to get good grades and keep her room tidy. Well, the last few times she came back after a weekend at John's, I noticed that the clothes she was bringing back in her duffel are not her size and much cheaper and poorer quality than what I usually buy for her. I asked her why that is, and she told me that while she's at her dad's, Amanda takes away her nice clothes and gives them to her kids while Sadie gets the clothes they buy from Target. I asked her if she wanted them back, but she said she didn't mind sharing since all her favorite clothes were kept here. The problem came when I went to pick her up last weekend. I had a business meeting and couldn't drive her over, so Amanda offered to just pick Sadie up from school, which hadn't happened before. When I got there on Sunday, John and Amanda asked me to sit down with them, and when Sadie came to hug me, Amanda sent her to her room quite harshly, saying her punishment wasn't over yet. I was confused because Sadie very rarely misbehaves. They sat me down in the kitchen and said that it was unfair for Sadie to be going to a private school while her kids go to a public one. So they decided that Sadie would be pulled out of private school and put in the same school as the girls. They also said I should keep up Sadie's punishment because when they told her, she blew up at them, told them it wasn't fair, and yelled that Amanda and her kids weren't even her real family, that all they did was steal. I told them in no uncertain terms to duck off. I would not be pulling my child out of a school she likes, away from her friends, because they can't afford it. I told them they could easily make as much money as me if Amanda started working in her field, because she has the qualifications and the job market is very good. I told them their money problems are not my issue, and if Sadie's items get stolen again or they try to pull her out of school, I'll be taking this to court. They've been blowing up my phone ever since, calling me a selfish and after telling the story to a friend, he told me I was rubbing my success in their face. But I still don't feel like I did anything wrong. Still, AITA? Edit. I contacted my lawyer and we're starting the process of obtaining full custody. I'm taking Sadie to a therapist so I can get permission to keep her with me at least until the courts make their decision. Her next visit isn't for another couple of weeks. So assuming that everything goes according to plan, she shouldn't have to go back there unless she wants to. AITA for saying that it is fucking weird that my ex-wife's newborn has my last name? I was married to my ex for 7 years until we divorced and went our separate ways 4 years ago amicably. After the divorce, she kept my surname. I didn't necessarily like it because it felt like she was still attaching herself to my family, but I could understand the practical reasons enough not to let it bother me. She recently gave birth to a baby and posted a picture of said child and revealed its name. A friend sent it to me commenting about the surname and asking if I knocked her up. Following that, 4 more people directly contacted me, either congratulating me or asking for confirmation whether it's my child or not, and my mother says she's been catching whispers about it. 2 at church. I bumped into her and her sister in town and obviously congratulated her, then asked about the kids' name. She said the name. I asked about the surname and she confirmed that the child's legal surname is, obviously, XYZ. Mine. And asked if there was a problem. Now that pissed me off. My surname is very unique, especially in the area, since my family is not originally from here, so when people hear the surname they naturally think of my family and assume that this is my kid, and it ducking isn't. Worse, the father is apparently in the picture, so I don't know what the duck is going on there. I straight up said that it was ducking weird that she's giving her newborn the surname of the man she's divorced from, who isn't in any way linked to the kid and sounds almost obsessive. She said she gave her daughter her surname as the mother and not mine. Am I the asshole? Edit. I have no children with her. She has 1 other child apart from this one. Saw this being asked in the comments, so there's that answer. Also, her surname doesn't impact her professionally. AITA for leaving dinner at my husband's family's house over a comment he made about my miscarriage? My husband and I have been trying to have kids for 3 years. I've had a series of MCs and not a single pregnancy was successful. Our recent MC was a month ago. And although my husband never said anything up until now, these have such trying times for me personally. The tension and emotions are very overwhelming, and I've become too sensitive even at the mention of the topic. He took me to his family's house for dinner last night, and my MC was brought up by his mom. The look of disappointment on her face made me lose my appetite completely. She went on and on about what may have caused it, then my husband chimed in and said that he's starting to come to a conclusion that maybe I'm incapable of being a mom. I was floored for 2 reasons. 1 is that he'd even say such thing. 2 is that no doctor has told me that there was something wrong with me specifically, so for him to declare I was incapable of bearing children and being a mom hurt like a sting. I looked at him and he was like, "What?" Then told me to not get offended since he was just being honest. He said he loves me and thinks I'm perfect, but still thinks that I'm flawed in that area, referring to motherhood. I had it at that point. I just got up from my seat and took my stuff and headed to the door. I said nothing, just made my way out. He shouted at me, but I didn't stop. I went home and he came and started unloading on me about how immature and too sensitive and ridiculous I was being. He said he was giving his honest opinion about the matter, and I have no right to police the words that come out of his mouth. Whether I like what I'm hearing or not, it's still the truth. We argued some, then we stopped talking altogether. He keeps saying I exaggerated and walked during dinner and disrespected him and his family over literally nothing. I'm unsure if I handled this the right way, or yet acted out of emotions.